Well, hello, Glue Troopers. I was looking at a video today on the 747 SP, or Special Performance, and I was thinking to myself, I'm pretty sure I remember seeing a kit of that as a kid. So I went back and started doing a little research, and sure enough, I could not find any vintage kits of the SP model anywhere. And I was wondering if it was just my imagination, so I started doing some digging. And it turns out that I can only find two companies that ever made the model of the SP, and they're actually fairly recent. Eastern Express out of Russia and Welsh Models out of the United Kingdom. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with the short version of the 747, the SP model, it didn't just happen, although it looks almost a little bit like a Fisher-Price toy. The airplane actually came about as a result of very careful consideration by Boeing. Back in the early to mid 70s, the 747 was turning out to be a little bit too big for the travel needs, especially following the 73 oil crisis. And a lot of companies like McDonnell Douglas and Lockheed had come out with these wide-body tri-jets, which were actually very efficient airplanes and were starting to dominate the market. Boeing considered just go ahead and following suit and converting the 747 to a tri-jet, but it didn't take long for them to realize that was not going to be a viable solution. Simply too much engineering. You had to move the wing back and everything. You were almost designing a whole new airplane. So they followed the next logical step. Let's remove some sections of the fuselage fore and after the wing, make a smaller version and a shorter version of the airplane using as many of the same components as we can. Now, they also lightened up the wing and a lot of other stuff. I'll tell you what, if you like, I will link a pretty good video a guy did on the SP where I got some of this information from down below. But anyway, the airplane, although it still had four engines, turned out to be a real record setter. It had way better performance than they expected, and they figured they need to make about 45 of them to hit break even. And Pan Am was willing to commit to about 10 of them for special niche markets. And the airplane went into production. It wasn't too long before most of the major airlines had at least gotten a few of them for certain special flights. And actually turned out to be a reasonably popular airplane for what it was doing. But the window of its viability was fairly short-lived. Although it was great with some of the airlines like Iran Air and some of the others that flew in these very high density altitude hot airfields and flew long haul flights, it wasn't long before the tri-jets were just proving themselves to be more efficient. And not to mention that the not only was four engines a little bit of overkill, but the simple fact was that the market had changed. So it was just kind of an airplane without a mission. Only 45 were ever made. A couple of them are still flying. I've seen them in Nassau recently. But if you want to get a kit model of one, apparently the only game in town is Welsh Models, which is apparently vacuform and resin, so it's a multimedia kit. And if you want styrene, you have to go with the Russian Eastern Express. I haven't really seen any reviews on the kits, so I don't know how good they are. But if you want to, the other option, of course, would be get model of a regular 747 and cut it down, but the airplane has different wing fillets and a few other things, so it's going to be a pretty involved kit bash if you decide to do that. But I just thought it was kind of an interesting subject that's kind of been overlooked by the kit model world, as so many things have. And yeah, it's just like you see that Pegasus makes a kit of Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, but no one makes John Zachary, who was in the game way before her. And if you're from the Northeast, New York or Philly in the 50s, you probably know who I'm talking about. I don't know if he was the first one of these guys, but he certainly looms large in the hearts and minds of a lot of people of that era that used to watch those old shows, and by all accounts, a really wonderful guy. So just saying, there's a lot of missed opportunities and stuff we could be making models of, and the 747 SP is just kind of it. Really don't know how many it'd sell, but be something new to do. Anyway, that was just what was occupying my mind as I'm sitting here trying to get well and take care of the family. Guys, everybody here is puttering along. We're toughing it out. Take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.